Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News, and ahead of Masters Copenhagen, some major updates on the FPX side, whether they'll be able to get their full team out to this venue, but also lots of talk from pro players about the state of the game right now, saying that there's way too much utility in Valorant, they want things to be changed quite significantly, and TenZ describing why Chamber needs a nerf so much, why Jett has been completely replaced by Chamber, and now this agent definitely needs some changes if it wants to be balanced again going forwards. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to dive into today. First of all, let's talk FPX. This was the team last time that won the kind of EMEA region in stage 1. They were going to go to Masters in Reykjavik, but pretty much their entire team couldn't go, and therefore they said, look, we're going to replace them. But I think Liquid were the team that came in instead because FPX couldn't field their full roster, or they would only been able to field like 2 of their players due to kind of travel restrictions effectively, and therefore they weren't able to do it. Now, seemingly they're kind of concerned about a similar situation again. It makes sense. Look, as far as I'm concerned, if Angel can go their IGL from Ukraine, then I think they still have a chance, pretty much regardless of who they have. Angel's just such a good IGL that I don't really think it matters too much what their team of 5 is. If Angel's there, they have a chance to do something. But they're looking at 3 players to potentially sub in. So they're looking to sign at 3 stand-ins. This, I believe, is a precautionary measure, just in case their players can't go. But I would imagine that the Russian players, we'll see here in a second, are rather unlikely to be able to make it and get the visas they need. We'll see that in a second. But yeah, apparently, Danish duo Sider and Mask, they're looking at those guys. And then Kereme, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce this. It looks like a Polish name though, is the 3rd player that they're potentially looking at to sign as a substitute. So this is kind of the full story right here, that they are experiencing troubles with Angel, Shao, and Saigetsu, of course, traveling to the event. So we'll see if this kind of transpires. But as well, Halo of Thoughts actually goes on to say this is the case if they don't get the visa. So this is just for now a precautionary idea. But I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised at all if these guys can't attend based on what we've seen before. But yeah, these are the 3, of course, in question here. Hopefully they can make it. But I mean, look, I'd love to see this team in full force because they've been, obviously they had a hard time last time out. They couldn't even go to the event. They still got the points towards champions. Hopefully this time they can compete with their full roster. It's such a fun team to watch when they are on form. But I mean, yeah, FPX is still trying to find ways to get Shao, Saigetsu, and Angel to Copenhagen. They don't have that long. I believe it's July the 10th the event starts. So they've got a few days, just under a couple of weeks to figure things out. The stand-ins are a safety precaution for now, but it might become more than that very soon indeed. And as George Geddes describes, the idea that Russian players Saigetsu and Shao can get there based on ongoing sanctions seems rather unlikely that they'll be granted the visas they need to get into Denmark and play in Copenhagen, of course. Whereas of course, to get a couple of Danish players in makes it it's sensible at least to sign those guys as substitutes. Now apparently they are still confident though and optimistic that Angel will be able to attend. So as I say, if Angel's there, I'm so confident in him as an IGL. Even we saw with this FPX team when one of their star players had to go, was unwell or something, and they had another player in the team, and then they were still just absolutely dominating people. I mean, yeah, I think they still have a chance if Angel's there. Hopefully he can arrive, of course, because a really fun player to watch on his day as well, and this team in general. Now let's talk about this. I've got to put this on the big screen for you guys. This is a tweet that was doing the rounds yesterday here from Nismo. This is a clip from his point of view of the game against NRG back in the stage 2 main event. So here we go. He gets the bomb down here on Haven over towards the seaside, and immediately there's so much stuff flying in. You can't even honestly comprehend what is happening here. We've got a fade ult coming in. We've got flashes flying in from all directions. He's using the kind of raise ultimate as well. His screen goes entirely pink right here, he gets hit by fade effectively, and then he's trying to chow this corner, gets naded, and then gets hit through the wall by tech. So this, honestly, I'll just let it play out for you guys again because this got 16,000 likes because people are like, what is Valorant at a professional level when stuff like this is going down? The ults are coming in, the rockets are coming in. I think John QT was saying, I think they know you're there, mate. He's stuck in this corner. Somehow he gets a kill out of this, a fair play killing some of this situation. I guess everyone was blind, and then it gets wallbanged for the death, right? So honestly, just unbelievable stuff what was happening on the screen there. I can't believe, I don't know, even from an observer point of view, it can get really hard to actually watch this game at times, and especially as pros just get better and better. This stuff happens, and the utility just happens on a more regular basis to the point where just everything is happening all the time. Even Som says there was a lot, and as Nimzo kind of quote tweeted as, there's too much utility in this game. There's too much going on. The players, the teams, they have too much to work with. I remember when the game was coming out to be discussed, and everyone was saying, yeah, utilities are just going to be there. The utility is not there to kill enemies. It's just there to make space and stuff. Nowadays, it's a very different story, obviously, and every player has so much that there's stuff like this going on all the time. Even Som says from NRG, the guy that Nismo killed in this clip, I was so blind in this clip, I remember I went out of spawn, a flash hit me, and all of a sudden I'm back plat, right? So effectively he just got, I don't even know where he thought he was going, but there was just so much going on that clip, right? So I don't exactly think that Valorant are going to remove any of this stuff, because I think for kind of, casual play and rank play and stuff, it makes sense. But on a professional level, the amount of utility that these pros have does make the game honestly pretty ridiculous to watch and try to keep keep up with at times. That's just my point of view. Now, Valorant has another idea that it's possible you could add a scoping noise with the operator. I always thought it was kind of strange in Valorant that there's no noise with the operator. Of course, there are other ways to counter it, right? There's, ways to counter the operator, as is described right here. Flashes, smoke, stuns. Maybe you don't need to know. Like, of course, it's an expensive weapon as well. Maybe it shouldn't just reveal your position, for example. But I mean, still, Nismo says actually in reply, there are not many ways to counter operators when they, press a button and just straight up vanish out of there like Chamber does. So that's kind of the thing here, right? The operator is pretty strong, but especially strong in the hands of Chamber right now. And even TenZ gives some good reasons as to what here in a second. The fact that it's very similar to Jett, how she used to be, where you can, you hit a shot with the op, then if you miss it, for example, you can pull out the knives. But you can only do that every so often when you actually do have the knives when your ultimate is ready. Whereas in Chamber's case, you can just pull out your sheriff, your headhunter pretty much every single round, right? Which is kind of remarkable to think about, actually. So anyway, Leaf says, please don't nerf him, please don't nerf him. Maybe trying to like counter jinx Valorant or Riot into actually nerfing him, right? To leave it as well. TenZ says, come on, once again now, I've been playing Chamber for a little bit on stream now. I think having a slow and is already free and fast fire operator is a little bit too much. We'll share what TenZ has to say on this because, like, look, we'd imagine Sentinels, with their now full team back in business here going into the LTQ, would be using Chamber. It might be a classic Sentinels thing to do, to wait until Chamber gets nerfed until they start using him, because of course TenZ has been talking about using Chamber for quite some time. But there's a nasty clip of him right here, but also when he describes the fact that he's pretty sad that Jett has been completely replaced by Chamber, right? Because Chamber's utility with the operator just makes him pretty much do it all right now. It makes Jett practically irrelevant in professional play.
I'm full blind. Never watched the gun. I'm low.
Hiko's clear, they're both long. Out.
When you
they're gonna nade trigger to the ground. Is that true? Possibly.
30 seconds left.
There's a fly in my room. I do think the character is pretty overbalanced.
Spike planted.
Like overtuned. It's just because he does so much at the same time.
Enemy remaining.
I think that's like the strong thing about Chamber. He's like, he takes up the Sentinel role, so you don't need the Sentinel, but then he's kind of like just the best opper in the game by far. Like way better than anything.
I can't believe he's not using
like
it.
Chamber's like an equivalent of like, this is how I see it. It's like if you have it,
he's got plans for us.
If you have like the op and Jett knives like every round, it feels like, because when you're, the thing that was really strong about Jett was if you had your knives, like let's say I take an op shot, I could whip out this gun and just instantly shoot, like with my knives. But on Chamber you can do the same thing, but you can do it every round. Like you have basically a sheriff every round.
So I think TenZ certainly has a point here, right? It is a question of what you should exactly do to nerf Chamber, because I think one of the key issues is teleport, right? People get really frustrated about that. As Nismo said, like, he can shoot one bullet and then get straight up out of there. And then, of course, you've also got the operator is very strong indeed. The slow on the operator is very good. The fast fire rate as well. Like, the fact that he has the headhunter as well. I think that was a really interesting point from TenZ. The fact that I'm used to be able to with Jett, like, okay, get a kill, dash away, and then if you miss your shot or if you hit one shot and there's a second guy, pull out the knives. Whereas in Chamber's case, you can do that, maybe teleport away so no one knows where you've even gone, but also if you do miss a shot and you can't teleport or whatever, if you just teleported within 20 seconds, then you can pull out the headhunter and get another kill immediately, right? So there's a few reasons why Chamber right now pretty much just dominates Jett in that department in terms of being the operator on the squad. And we can see here, this is in North America, this is in the compositions. We've got 80% of the time at Chamber is picked, by far and away the most picked agent in North America. In other regions, this is actually less for Chamber. Like in North America, they just seem to absolutely love Chamber, but I honestly think that it will catch on more and more in other regions. But I mean, we'll see how it goes, of course, when it goes into Copenhagen Masters and stuff like this. But on the 15 maps that were played on Fracture, this is the entirety of the playoffs and also like the regular stage. Chamber was picked every single time. At most maps he's picked every single time, and Jett, from pretty much being the dominant agent, only now picked 33% of the time, which in fairness is pretty much middle of the pack, right? So you do wonder, okay, whether this is too bad, right? Jett still picked kind of sometimes pretty similar numbers to a lot of these other agents, but at the same time, like Chamber's just picked so often. If you nerf Chamber, does Jett then come back? Like you have to kind of think about these issues. Maybe in an ideal world it's like 50% between the two agents, but that's more than likely not going to happen. So I wanted to mention a couple of things right here as well, because well, Leaf actually, we just talked about, he was kind of talking about please don't nerf Chamber, whatever. Like he actually wasn't playing in the Cloud9 team last night. So this team we looked at yesterday were playing in this kind of Mickey Mouse tournaments, pros like to describe them as, but trying to get some practice in. And actually it was Niliaz who stepped into this team in place of Leaf, I believe due to some internet issues, kind of the way Vanity described it was he was being too toxic, so he dropped him. But yeah, I believe there were some internet issues that Leaf was suffering with, therefore they brought in Niliaz really as from their kind of academy roster onto their team. They still won one of their games, but eventually they lose to Sonics, right? They 2-0'd, well, the Sonics guys 2-0'd Cloud9. Yes, they had a substitute in, but yeah, it is rather interesting because Cloud9 here in version 1 as well. Like, I'm pretty sure version 1 season is over anyway, but Cloud9 are obviously looking to get some practice in before the LCQ. They couldn't really do that right here quite as much as they'd like to. Then again, the entirety of July for this Cloud9 team is off, right? The players don't have anything to play for the next month, effectively, because pretty sure the LCQ is in August and then Champions is in September. But I'm pretty sure, at least in North America, the LCQ has not really been announced what it's going to be, where it's going to be, like at what the time zones are going to be, or at least at what the dates are going to be, right? Because last year they tried to do it on LAN, and then it kind of, well, it was absolute nightmare. They had to cancel it, they had to redo it, all this type of stuff. You guys, I'm sure, will remember if you've been following for about 9 or so months. So I'm guessing an announcement is soon, but I know some of you guys have been asking when the LCQ is. I believe it's going to be in August sometime, at least that is the current rumor. Now, I'm pretty sure version 1 aren't going to be going anyway based on their tragic performance. They didn't qualify, of course, for stage 2. But even with Zelsis in the team, I think he even said he was going to take a break or something. They lost to actually this Dark Zero team, so they had a pretty bad time as well. This is the bracket actually that we can look at right here. We've got Cloud9. They took down TSM Academy 2-0, then lost to Sonics, of course, without their full roster, and then even version 1, like, you know, how the mighty have fallen in a way from where version 1 were to now losing to Dark Zero Esports 2-1 here, and even Knights lost to Oxygen Academy on the other side of things. And NYFU, the New York Fury, they lost early on this tourney as well. So interesting stuff, I thought, really across the board here. We'll see how this goes over the coming days, but really none of the absolute heavy hitters, apart from maybe Sonics arguably, making it through to what will be the grand final. So impressive stuff. Big storylines to keep your eyes on over the coming months as well. Now, I wanted to mention this from Ruleminder as we close out the video here, because I thought this is pretty remarkable. The 9-3 curse, of course, is a massive discussion point in the North American scene, but apparently it only really happens in North America. In pretty much every other region, the 9-3 curse doesn't really exist. Like, if you look at the last 2 months of international play, 92% of the time a team was up 9-3, they won the game, right? 85 out of 92. So 7 times internationally, 9-3 leads have been blown, and 6 of those times are coming in North America, right? It's kind of an incredible statistic to think about, actually, that 91 out of 92 times a team has closed out a 9-3 lead internationally. But in North America, that percentage, instead of being like 99% of the time, is only 74% of the time or whatever, because in North America, 6 out of 23 times there was a 9-3 lead on a half, the other team won. Now, yeah, there's obviously many reasons that this could be, because generally I think a lot of the times it's a 9-3 defensive round. I like it, maybe teams in North America just stronger on defense, or they favor maps where like their defense is more heavily favored, or just North American teams weaker than international teams in general on offense, therefore it's more likely to go from a 9-3 to like a 12-12 and then close out the overtime or something. But it's still kind of incredible actually how often this is. The only other region where this happened was in APAC, in Korea, in Japan, in Brazil, in Europe, in all the other regions. Whenever there's been a 9-3 lead, that team has never blown it. In North America, it happens like a quarter of the time, which there could be many reasons for, or it's just a mental thing and it's like a mental resilience that isn't necessarily there. Right? It's an interesting question for you guys to kind of consider in the comment section below. Speaking of North America and Japan, wanted to mention this regional peak viewership for stage 2. North America, Europe, Brazil, kind of what you might expect over here, but Japan absolutely killed it. Almost 300,000 peak viewers this stage. Obviously, I imagine partly helped by the phenomenal LAN they had to kind of close out their region, with Northeptune winning over Zeta Division. But still, I thought some really healthy numbers here going into Masters in Copenhagen. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. I just like you should see it as well. And I grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.